Make it safe, Okanagan. Very important topic. I am excited to have Wayne Arondis, who is did I say that properly, Wayne?
You
Hopefully.
did, Rhonda.
Yeah.
Thank you.
CEO with Manufacturing Safety Alliance of British Columbia. And safety certainly is not unfamiliar to us in the region. So thank you very much for joining us, Wayne. Appreciate having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Wayne, to get started, can you give us a high-level overview of the MISS, or the Make It Safe event that is happening here in Kelowna in the Okanagan, April 10th at the Coast Capri?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. The Make It Safe conference series is held throughout the province, and we're happy to stop into Kelowna as we bring our Make It Safe event series to the Okanagan and beyond as part of our outreach to the industry, the manufacturing industry. Uh, we've been doing this now for many years, but the expansion of this program, as this is our third year coming back to the Kelowna area, and the idea is that we can connect with industry, with the safety professionals within the manufacturing sector and beyond, specifically to talk about relevant safety topics that are existing both locally and around the province, bringing in professional safety experts that can really talk about the emerging risks, the current risks that exist, and solutions on how employers and workers can continue to improve their safety management programs, their safety on site, and ultimately, our goal is that we lower incidences and lower the claims that obviously are there, and make sure that workers and employers are safer because of our conference series and other programs we offer.
Such an important event to attend. This year's theme is People, Planet, Profit. What does
Yeah.
that mean for attendees, and how will it be reflected throughout the sessions?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, bringing people together is the main thing. We know that through training, through conference lectures, fireside chats of professionals coming together, this is how we get the knowledge transference that we think is so important. Connecting with people, the planet, of course, we've seen around the world. There's a lot of different emerging threats, and of course, in the Okanagan region, we've seen no doubt the fires have been top of mind to everyone, and so that creates a new threats not only to workers but plants, and of course, we want to be very mindful of those potential risks that are emerging, but as well, talk about other things that might also be on the minds of employers and workers around the ever-changing climate that we're seeing. And then profit. Ultimately, safety is not just something that's obviously very important, but in order for employers to have profitability, they need to have healthy and workers that not only physically healthy but mentally fit and healthy to come to work. And so, the work that we do at the Alliance is really kind of three pronged in ensuring that we can bring people, planet, and profit together, but with a lens of not only physical safety but mental health safety as well.
I think that's such a critically important component, and one that I hadn't even considered when I was reading the information about the event. So you had mentioned just as we opened, and then prior to going online, this is the third year that event is in Kelowna. The uptake on it from an attendee's perspective is well attended. Is there something specific, or a change that is can be expected or planned for the evolution of this event in the region? Is it going to be very similar to the past two, or will there be changes based on feedback?
Yeah, no, every year we try to obviously there's some core basics to safety that we always want to address and ensure that we provide opportunities for training. And of course, those topics are usually uh, wanted or subscribed to quite a bit. But ultimately, we try to bring in a diverse amount of speakers that have different perspectives outside of industry, across industries, but also just having a diverse amount of experience. Through the different plenaries that we offer within the Make It Safe series. So, one of our jobs is always to ensure that we're bringing not only the relevance, the issues of today, and they
Mm-hmm.
change year over year. We came out of the pandemic, and then it was, of course, what's going to be the return to work, um,
Mm-hmm.
issues within the workplace. We were looking at mental health, but now we're kind of talking not so much about mental health, but really about EQ, emotional intelligence, really, working with the leadership and helping provide additional coaching around obviously the mental health, but it's coupled with the emotional health of individuals. And so we see this evolution and this progression. And so we really want to make sure that we're bringing those topics and sharing those insights from the folks that we bring to the Make It Safe in Kelowna.
So I'm going to digress a little bit. It wasn't on my list, but I can't help but ask. So specifically to the speakers and the event, can you give me a sense of, is the event all day long? Is it a 3 hour, 2 hour, all
Yeah,
day?
no, thank you. It is an all-day event, and so we
Okay.
have a morning event where we bring in, our different speakers. That we have a keynote, which is really important, that really will address when life goes sideways. Is one we have a speaker coming in. We're really excited to have, and again, just bringing those different perspectives. So it is an all-day event, and then we also have some side training events. So this year. We're bringing back to Kelowna our dust hazard training
Mm-hmm.
course, which is a 2 day certificate course. And really, we'll be emphasizing again, we know the regulations are set to be changing here. It was going to happen in 2025, it'll happen in 2026. So, we want
Okay.
to make sure that we're bringing in the training for those people because it's not just forestry. We always think about dust hazard and combustible dust as forestry, but it's really in a lot of industries. There's flower dust, there's metal dust, there's a lot of in the nutraceuticals there's a lot of different components that can be quite dangerous in the dust world. And so we've got this new training that we offer for 2 days in Kelowna that we're excited about, and as well as other programs that people attending will be able to take part of.
Wayne, I think that's so interesting that you say that. As I'm refilling my cinnamon jar, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, the poor people that work in cinnamon factories. Like, I can't even imagine how good or bad that is for you. So, that actually springboards for me. When I was reading about the details of the event, I did see manufacturing, and that made a whole lot of sense to me as I'm thinking around safety and equipment and building and things like that. The one that just gave me just a quick second of pause, but then I went to, oh, obviously, is food processing and the food industry. So the it's a broad sector of industries and organizations that should be taking this day in.
Yeah, I mean, there's thousands of manufacturers throughout the province. When we first started, we were predominantly just food and beverage. The
Mm,
wineries, the
mm,
distilleries, the breweries, and then of course every food manufacturer and beverage manufacturer in between that. We have expanded beyond food and beverage. We now do a lot of different types of heavy industrial manufacturing as well. Our expertise and our team really has a wide amount of experience and specialized training in things like combustible dust, confined spaces, industrial hygiene, and it goes on. And so, our job is really to really look at the industry as a whole and look at how we can best support it from a safety lens, and bring in those qualified professionals to really give that specific support that is really hard to find in industry, and ultimately, give them solutions around the safety things that they need to know, and how to prevent injuries.
as AI is really becoming very prominent in almost every conversation, every ride up an elevator. Is there a speaker or a workshop or a session this year's event that will include how AI can have impact within safety in sectors?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword for us in the fact that
Yeah.
most of our members have what I call the secret sauce, and so it's very challenging for us to incorporate AI into what we're doing because we want to make sure that the confidentiality remains always
Mm,
for what our members do. But outside of that, we are working with some outside expertise that specialize in AI and technology, and we will be bringing them forward. They won't be having a showcase necessarily here at Kelowna, but we will be showcasing in our Vancouver conference in the fall, and then of course it
mm,
will be part of our conference next year.
okay. And then curious with regulatory changes, and again, I mean, you're trying to navigate multiple sectors and industries and make sure that you're bringing relevant details. Is there are there industry trends, regulatory trends that we should be aware of for 2025 that stand out in any sector or industry?
Well, we've had a lot of change and a lot of regulatory updates around things like Bill 41,
Mm,
which was obviously the duty to accommodate, and the new rules around kind of participation in return to work programs. We've had the changes to the first aid, which were quite significant for the province,
mm,
emergency planning. And so we'll continue to bring those changes, regulatory updates to our members. And we do typically do that through both our webinars and also the Make It Safe events. But there are more to be coming this year. We're just waiting to hear what those announcements will be through WorkSafe. But we know that combustible dust and crane safety, these are some of the ones that will be also brought forward in 2025 and 2026.
that sounds incredibly matching the needs of these sectors. Wayne, what common mistakes do organizations do or maybe aren't thoughtful as they're trying to roll out a strong safety culture? Is there something that stands out that is commonly done by accident in sectors?
Well, I mean, I spend most of my time in meeting with, manufacturing leadership, and typically what I see is not necessarily a mistake, but something that's probably not is maybe overlooked or not as the emphasis of value is not put on it. That's really where engagement from leadership, senior leadership, is really important. It's not a matter of just a slogan or a vision or a simple, you know,
A
what
manual thrown on the shelf?
yeah, it really is
Yeah.
about walking the talk. It's about physically being available, and I'm seeing lots of change
Mm,
with leadership creating that. It's all of us. It's a safety culture is it's from the top all the way down, and it's really about walking the talk. And I think that in past we might not have put the emphasis on leadership participation and making sure that they're available, being part of the talks, being part of the walkthroughs. One of the things I always challenge leaders is if you were to walk into your plant or facility today, would anyone stop you if you were not wearing an appropriate piece of PPE? And if the
mm.
answer is no, then you need to really be, thinking about where your safety culture is. And everybody should be thinking about everyone's safety, regardless of your position, regardless of whether you're an owner or not. And I think there is a change here. I wouldn't say there's mistakes happening, but I would say that there is an emphasis around leadership engagement and leadership being part of the solution. And that it's not just pushing it to HR or pushing it to a safety person. It's about, are we walking the talk as an organization as a whole?
A staple pillar within our
Yeah,
leadership team that is practicing safety and modeling at every opportunity.
absolutely.
Are there any hands-on experiences or interactive elements for this event this year?
Well, it's great that you asked that. We actually, in our dust hazard course, the Make It Safe, this is a sidebar to it, but
Okay.
we are planning to show just how combustible things are. I mean, I give the example. A
Wow.
lot of people think about just cream out, right? That office coffee, whitener. And, if you try to light it on fire, does nothing. It's very inert, doesn't really do anything. But the minute you aspirate it and provide an ignition source, it's actually quite explosive. And so a
Oh,
lot of people would never even know that. But this is normal compounds that we find in a workplace that could potentially be a major risk to organizations. And so we are going to, hopefully the event will allow us to do it on premise, but we will be doing some live demonstrations to just showcase to those attending the course the risks that are there and how we can mitigate those risks for employees and employers.
I think those are going to be very impactful if you're able to do those at the course. What Wayne? What would you say to? Actually, I'm going to save this one just for a second. So the event. What is the maximum capacity of attendees that you can have at the event for April 10th?
Yeah, I think our overall, and I didn't grab that number, but we typically have 250 to 300 people.
Okay.
That's usually our typical max at the current venues. And again, it continues to grow, and we continue to move to new venues in order to accommodate our attendees. But we like to keep it, as concise and kind of one day as possible. Whereas our Vancouver one, just because of the nature of the amount of our members located in the Lower Mainland, it is a 2 day. It's a 1 day conference with a second day of training.
Amazing. So now this question is perfect. What would you say to business leaders or safety professionals who are considering attending this event but haven't in past years or haven't had it up there in the list of priorities for must do training in their organizations?
Yeah, I think our goal with Make It Safe is really about bringing practical safety leadership to folks in the Kelowna area. I know that a lot of people, when we look at traveling and getting to the Lower Mainland or getting access to a good safety conference, it's pretty difficult. So we brought it locally, and it's really been um, accepted and welcomed quite well, where people from the local area could come in. And again, for us, it's really about bringing the relevant topics with, again, people that actually have done the work that can provide practical solutions, practical ideas around safety, different topics of safety, and that they can actually take back and use. And again, we like to create a intimate conference where people can actually
Mhm.
come up to the speakers afterwards, ask them questions, really lean into their expertise and take that back with them to their organizations.
Amazing. Rommel had brought up on the screen the details of the event.
Yes.
So, Wayne, can you tell us where people can go if there's multiple places they can go to register or what website they should visit?
Yeah, again, linking from our Manufacturing Safety Alliance of British Columbia
Mhm.
webpage, and of course, our Make It Safe. Simply, you can register a link through to register from either website, and it's just a few clicks and fill out a bit of information. And registration is quite simple, but again, it's Manufacturing Safety Alliance of BC.ca, and of course, Make It
Okay.
Safe is our main site for our conference, and just simply go to those two sites to register.
And we will make sure to link those both in the comments for people to find. Are there different types of registration levels? Is there just coming to a particular speaker? Is there an all day event? Is there an early bird
Yeah, I
entry?
think we're.
What are some of the options?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think we were just passing the early bird
Okay.
registration now.
Okay.
But again, there are some opportunities for groups, as well as, again, the 2 day workshop is there as a standalone.
Mm,
And again, we try to make sure that we keep our conference prices as low as we possibly can, even with our rising costs
mhm.
of of our economy. But we do try to do as reasonable as possible, just so that we can cover our basic costs and bring this conference to the Okanagan.
So in closing, Wayne, is there one takeaway that you hope attendees will walk away with after attending Make It Safe, if they've participated in previous years or if this is their first year? What do you hope?
Yeah, I think anyone returning or anyone new will find that, again, we change up the topics. We look at what is a burning issue in the communities, in the workplaces. I mean, we're on site to hundreds of different manufacturers throughout the year, and we hear back from our members and from our clients, obviously what the burning issues are. And when we start to hear, those, things cropping up as same issues all over, those are what we bring forward as a discussion, bringing in those relevant speakers. And so I think for anyone attending, they'll find that they will get a lot of answers and a lot of clarity around some of those emerging threats, or some of those things that have been, obviously creeping up on maybe their radars as well, and practical tips on how to maybe mitigate those things, solve those problems, or point them in the right direction for resources or help. That's our ultimate goal with the Make It Safe conference.
So it sounds like if there's a safety issue that is keeping these organizations awake at night, you will probably have a speaker or a session at this event that will try and address those.
That is absolutely our goal. Yeah. So as we've, this year we've been tackling things around first aid, things around combustible dust, and then other things like within the leadership and psych health and safety. These are the topics that we're bringing forward because they've been the most requested conversations with our members.
Excellent. So Wayne, this is our first live stream in a 4 live stream series event that will be bringing this information forward. Is there anything I missed asking you, or that should have asked you, or something that you'd like to share that you'd like covered here? And if not, can absolutely take it into the next 3.
No, I think we've covered off a lot of ground here, and I think, again, if there's any questions, or if there's you're not sure if you should attend, do check out the websites to give a lot of information about what the speakers will be and the topics, and that should lead you to hopefully make a decision to join us this year.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for tuning in, or for dialing in, Wayne, and sharing with us the purpose of the Manufacturing Safety Alliance of British Columbia and the good work that you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.